Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video, and today we are here for the F1 Esports Pro Exhibition. This is assessment number 2 and 3. I thought I would put them both together as I did do them one after another on the day. So today we are doing two 25% races, both with a short qualifying, and the interesting thing about these two races is that collisions or ghosting is actually turned on. So yeah, there's no chance of contact. They did this to prevent any connection issues from affecting the results. There are two Chinese drivers in the lobby, and people's connections can sometimes be a bit unstable, which can kind of lead to crashes and desync and stuff like that. So yeah, collisions are turned off, which isn't going to be the most exciting for actual racing, but it's still interesting to see who had the pace and how these races work. And there's also only 11 drivers, I believe. 6 drivers from the Challengers, which is where we came from. And then there's 2 from Time Trial, I believe. And then you have the 2 Chinese drivers for winning the F1 Esports China Championship. I believe that's how they got into this pro exhibition. And I think there's one more driver maybe from somewhere else. I'm not quite sure where. Unless there was just 10 of us. I could be wrong. But yeah, anyway. So this Bahrain race, I actually decided not to do qualifying. Since there's only, so there we go. There's 11 drivers there. Since there's only 11 of us and collisions are turned off, I've decided to go for the medium soft strategy. As you can see there, Alessio in P1, already going for the softs, and Chan in P2. And Seb in P3. So yeah, they've decided to go for the soft strategy. There's some of us, or I think maybe 4 or 5 of us, that have not set laps yet, and we are going to start on the mediums and then go to the softs and come back at the end of the race. So what we're actually going to do, since there's quite a few of us yet to set laps, as you can see there, we're actually going to go out on inters. So this way we can decide our order of positions. As you can see, from P6 down, everyone's on inters, and whoever just has the fastest inters time will start ahead. And this way we don't have to use our fresh medium set, and we'll start on 0 lap old fresh medium. So yeah, coming up to the line, as you can see, we're second up on our previous inters time, which is enough to secure our P6. So yeah, we will be the lead medium runner. As you can see there, Alessio takes pole. But I believe this strategy that we're on is faster. So yeah, getting straight into the race then. No formation lap for the assessment number 2. The Bahrain Grand Prix for the Pro Exhibition. Lights out and away we go. And we don't actually get the best start. As you can instantly see, everyone going left towards the curve for turn 1, because it doesn't matter. Everyone ghosting through each other. We maintain our P6. And as you can see, we have to try and stick with the soft runners ahead of us. As you can see, a small gap has already formed just because of that extra grip that they have at the exit of turn 2. So yeah, it's going to be crucial to stick with them. We're going to use our battery, and we're going to use everything we can, all our pace, to try and stick with the guys. As you can see, there's a little bit of a mess going on up ahead of us. I imagine it must be quite difficult for them to see where they're going when they've got cars everywhere around them. We are fine. We have a small gap, about 4 tenths to the next medium runner. So yeah, we got to try and hold this gap, about 6 tenths right now. And the closer we can stay to them in this stint, the much easier it'll get towards the end of the stint when we're on the fresh softs. So yeah, coming towards sector 3 now. As you can see, 7 tenths gap. It's quite difficult to stay with them. I feel like I'm driving pretty much as I should be, using quite a bit of ERS. So well, not that much, but we're using enough considering it's lap 1 and the gap's still 7.5 tenths. So yeah, going to be difficult, but as the stint goes on, obviously the tyres will degrade, the soft tyres will degrade, and the mediums will come into their own, and maybe we can catch back up. So yeah, starting lap 2, the gap's now 8 tenths, and as I've always been saying, it is crucial we maintain or close within that 1 second gap. 9 tenths now. So yeah, at this point I was thinking, no, I'm not going to drop out yet. I'll just have to use all my battery. As you can see in the background, my teammate there, I believe that was Tang Tianyu, has crashed out. It's unfortunate for him. But yeah, Ate gets a 3-second penalty. I assume he's got an instant penalty. I know one of them corners can give you an instant penalty without any warnings. But it seems like this a little, well, it's kind of weird to say battling considering they're not actually battling, but they slow down a bit. We've gained about 2/10 as the cars are going back and forth, ghosting through each other, and that's kind of saved us now. Now we're back within that 1 second window, but this time we're going to try not to drop out. We can use a little bit more ERS, and another thing that's quite crucial right now, CRG Patrick is 9/10 behind, so yeah, if we can get our nearest rival on the same strategy out of a second window, that would be crucial. That would kind of kill any chances of the medium runners below Patrick and Patrick winning the race. If we can stay within the DRS of the soft runners, and kind of have the pace of soft runners compared to them on mediums, not getting any DRS, they would drop back quite a bit. So yeah, starting lap 3, the gap is quite close. I've got within DRS of Bent, but Patrick, as you can see, 1.2 seconds. So yeah, we have managed to break DRS while maintaining the DRS to Bent, which is perfect for us. This is literally, an ideal situation to be in. I assume Patrick used some of his battery to get back down to 1 second or 1.1, but it's just going to be too difficult for him with these 3 DRS zones. Unless he can significantly catch up in this middle sector, it's not going to look great. Because even if he does catch up a little bit through the middle sector, once we get to this next straight in Sector 2, then he's just going to lose another few tenths. And that's going to keep happening. So yeah, a really good situation for us. And now we just have to sit in this train, well, until the tyres drop off on them softs. And we can either just drive right through them or they'll pit. So yeah, that's one good thing about not having to make any overtakes or ghosting being turned on. Once we have the pace, we won't have to make moves. It's not going to be made difficult for us. We just drive through them. So yeah, moving on to lap 7. As you can see, we are in P1. All the soft runners have made their pit stop onto the medium tyre. This is our in lap. As you can see, Patrick 2.5 seconds behind. So yeah, we have a massive gap to our nearest rival on the same strategy. Getting slowed down in the pit stop. And I believe you can actually get held despite ghosting being off. I've seen someone say that, but fortunately for us, we had the gap. Patrick actually stayed out, which helped, and we don't get held by anyone. So yeah, nice clean pit stop. As you can see, if you look at the mini-map, that's the Ferrari of Alessio going past, and the rest of the train of medium runners. And yeah, we come out quite close actually to Bent's, considering the undercut. So yeah, as you'll see very quickly, the advantage we have on fresh softs is absolutely ridiculous. There's just so much extra grip. It is kind of insane. And when you combine that with the fact that you don't actually have to make any overtakes, you start to understand how good this strategy is. So yeah, coming through the middle sector, right behind Bent. It was kind of strange at first. I was thinking, there's so much muscle memory of avoiding the car ahead of you. But into this braking zone, I just seen the car ghost and bam, straight through it. Next up is Sebastian Job. I believe this was the guy who qualified through time trial, and he is very fast considering this isn't his main game. So yeah, you can see the extra grip on the exit using a little bit of ERS. I'm going to get the move done, ghosting through him. And a good thing actually, once you are pretty much inside another car, the car just kind of disappears until you're either in front or behind it. So yeah, that's kind of a good thing actually, so you can actually see where you're going. So yeah, we've got the move done on Sebastian already. Considering it's only our first lap and we've got past 2 cars, that's pretty insane. Next up, Ate Koppanen. He has 6 seconds of penalties, I believe that says. Not sure how that's happened, but we brake so much later into turn 1, all that extra grip. Get the traction on the exit of turn 2, and that's another move done. Next up, Can Akinci. Very good Turkish driver, very young. But as you can see, Alessio De Capua, 2 seconds up the road. That was a little bit concerning. If he was within this train, a second ahead of Chan, then it would have been fairly comfortable as we get the move done on Chan, going through that right-hander. But yeah, 2 seconds ahead. We're going to use our tyres, obviously, use our extra pace advantage to catch up. But The only concern is, lap 13, lap 14, the softs aren't going to be at their best condition. Obviously, they get used up very quickly. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I do believe we can make the move on Alessio, but it's whether we can pull away, if we have the tyres left to pull away and, avoid the risk of getting overtaken with DRS, Slipstream ERS, on the final lap or something. So, yeah, we're going to hunt Alessio down, and we do catch up at the end of lap 10. So, yeah, we've got the DRS now, and it's going to be, once again, a pretty simple overtake. We're using 52 brake bias, so yeah, I was a little bit concerned about the rear tyres. Obviously, they'll make it, but how worn they would be, I wasn't sure. And, yeah, coming through turn 2, as you can see, we have the DRS there, driving straight through him. And that is us up into the lead in this Bahrain GP. And, yeah, now it was just about whether I could pull away. I know I'd still have a decent bit more pace through the middle sector, but would it be enough to break a second when he has DRS? So, yeah, moving on to the final lap of the race now. As you can see, we have maintained the gap. He didn't actually drop out of DRS, unless you had some pretty decent pace, but we was saving quite a bit of ERS for this final lap, and we just deploy it all, just making sure. Alessio was dropping back maybe 7-8 tenths in the middle sector through the corners, and then caught back up using the DRS. So yeah, it was never going to be enough. The soft tyres were just too good. And yeah, we take the win of assessment number 2 out of 4. And yeah, happy with that one. Clearly, I think we're on the better strategy. So for Alessio to be that close, GG, well done to him. So yeah, a win in the first assessment, and moving on to the second assessment, which is a fully wet race in China. So, yeah, bit of wet weather action. Very interesting doing a wet race with no collisions. But I'm going to take you through my fastest quali lap in the wet conditions. 4th gear through turn 1, down to 3rd. You can use really low gears, as I learned through practice in the wet. Down to 1st, and we're going to short shift up to 4th. Right now we're in P2, CRG Patrick on a 43.7, we're on a 0.9. Comes his right-hander, first gear once again, getting a rotation, and short shifting once again on the exit. Very tricky, these conditions, but right now we are on quite a decent lap. So coming through this fast, left-hander, 6th gear, bring it over to the right a little bit, and then drop it down into 3rd gear. Stick to the right-hand side, of course, and then down to 2nd. We actually missed the apex by a mile. That's definitely cost us a little bit of time. But short shift up to 5th using that curb on the exit. And we've gained a little bit of time back. Ending sector 2, 0.9, sector 2 split. Not too bad. We're up on Patrick right now by over a tenth, I believe that said. So yeah, we're on a pretty decent lap so far. Coming through the snail section, the traction was absolutely horrible. You need so much patience for this. We short shift all the way up to 6th gear. And we get that done pretty nicely. And now a long wait before the braking zone into the hairpin. You're only braking it pretty much where you do in the dry because of the less speed that you're taking. So braking as the curb starts. Down to 2nd gear. We turn in way too early. I'm really not sure what I did there, but I can tell you that was not an ideal line. We probably broke a little bit too early there, but coming into the final corner, you really need to attack this left curb, which we get fairly well, to be fair. And up to the line, it's going to be a 43.751. 1/100th off of Patrick. And yeah, that little mistake, missing the apex in sector 2, or the hairpin in sector 3, very costly there in getting pole position. So yeah, P2 it is for the race. Then Patrick on pole. Sebastian, it's actually Tian Yu Tang, my teammate in P3. So good qualifying from him. And for assessment number 3, it's lights out and away we go for a no collisions race at China in the full wet. As you can see, we got a pretty decent start compared to Patrick. But unfortunately, I can tell you that this race may be the most boring race I've ever done. So yeah, we go through Patrick right now. He takes a wider line. We thought we had the edge on him right here, but he gets the better exit and stays ahead. And yeah, the reality is absolutely nothing happened from this point. It looks like right now we have the pace. But once again, Patrick gets a better exit, pulls away by a few tenths. And all throughout the race, it's just just this stuff happening where I would gain a little bit. Sometimes the gap would go down to 5 tenths, and then Patrick would gain a little bit of time, and the gap would go up to 7, 8 tenths, and then one of us has a really good run through a corner or something, and then we gain and lose time, and the same thing just kept going on and on. There really was not much separating us in terms of pace. Same with Sebastian behind us, only 7 tenths behind, and the gap kept fluctuating a little bit to him as well. So yeah, straight at the top, we're pretty much on equal pace. Unfortunately, in the full wet, there's nothing you can really do. So yeah, literally zero on-track action. But fair play to Patrick. He kept it very consistent. I felt we didn't really make too many mistakes. Neither did he. There was no real chance to overtake. If he went wide or something, or locked up or whatever. And as you can see, going on to lap 12, the gap's actually gone up to over a second. So at this point, Patrick has a little bit more pace than us. We have a gap to Sebastian around about 8 tenths as well. So yeah, our pace isn't that bad. Just Patrick has really good pace in the full wet right now. So yeah, unfortunately, no action. Even if collisions were on for this race, it wouldn't have made much difference because of the full wet. There wouldn't have been any real overtaking opportunities. So yeah, unfortunately, slightly boring race in this third assessment. But coming on to the final lap, as you can see, we do finish in our P2 spot. I'm fairly happy with that one. We didn't do that much race, practice in the wet in general. So yeah, strong result. Obviously with our win in the second assessment and our P2 in this third assessment, quite consistent. And yeah, I think we're looking fairly comfortable in this pro exhibition. One more assessment after this, the final assessment, assessment number 4, which is the knockout tournament. So in the one-shot qualifying mode at Silverstone, we'll be doing 1v1s essentially, and then the 2 finalists will meet up for that final 1v1. Best of 3, so if you win 2 in a row, you are through. Yeah, that was it for today, guys. Thank you all for watching today. I hope you enjoyed the drive-in, and hopefully we are that one step closer to esports with them strong performances. So yeah, once again, thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one.